you. Well, that's it really. Take care. Bye.
Wakey, wakey, rise and shine. Sometime soon I'll make you mine.
Jimmy.
You're not coming in?
No. When I get off to work, there'll be lots of paperwork to do.
It was only a matter of time. If he hadn't have escaped, you'd have got the warrant and you'd have found him.
Yeah, but in what state? He's lucky to be alive. I'm going to get off.
Right. I'll see you later for tea. I'll get some chops or something.
OK.
I don't believe it. Is he all right?
We'll know soon enough. Lily's with him now.
He was there all over Christmas. It's mad.
I mean, it really does beggar belief to think of him locked up in that house.
Why didn't you say something?
What?
Well, didn't you think it was a bit strange that he was missing all this time?
No more than anyone else.
Well, you live with him. You should have known something was wrong.
Excuse me for not consulting my crystal ball. How was I supposed to know two nutters were holding him hostage?
Well, maybe if you weren't so preoccupied with yourself.
Hang on a minute, you're supposed to be his friend too, right? Why didn't you say something? You want to shine the light on someone, shine it on yourself.
Hey, come on. It's not helping anybody.
Karen's right. It's nobody's fault. Maybe if we'd all paid a bit more attention.
However, one does have to question his judgment in all this. Because if you are going to get tied up by a woman, you want to make damn well sure she's going to be fun.
Total and utter idiot.
How's he doing? Still in a state of shock. The diazepam they gave him is working its way through his system, and until it does, he's going to be pretty out of it. Have you spoken to his sister?
Yeah, she's on her way.
How'd she take it?
She was shocked. I didn't go into too much detail. I mean, how do you explain something like this?
We've barely scratched the surface.
And what about them? The police have got them, have they?
They're in custody and being assessed as we speak. Forensics are at the house, but really, they're not my main concern. Thank heaven for small mercies, but the physical damage appears to be minimal. Obviously, all scarring isn't physical.
Morning.
I'm sorry, I usually see Dr. Clay.
Indisposed, I'm afraid. How can I help you? I'm Dr. Bradfield.
I can't cry. I want to cry, but I can't. And it's starting to wear me down.
You can't cry. Well, as far as I'm concerned, one less emotional woman in the world is something to be applauded rather than concerned about.
You think this is a joke? Do you know what it feels like to want to cry and not be able to?
No,
But maybe I should see another doctor. My mother just died of cancer. I think if anything was going to make me cry, that would have been it, don't you?
Please, sit down.
Jimmy. Jimmy, hey. Hello. It's Julia.
Jimmy?
Jimmy?
Jimmy, what's the last thing you remember?
Grief affects everyone differently.
No, it's more than that. This started before my mother, and it's affecting everything. My skin, my joints. I feel tired and achy all over. I find it difficult to swallow.
Stress-induced. It's amazing how things affect the body. I know you want to hear a genuine medical reason why you can't cry, but stress is a manifestation of grief, and perfectly confident that everything you're experiencing is a result of having lost your mother. Got anyone you talk to? Family member, boyfriend, somebody with big shoulders to cry on? My experience is nothing that a bottle of wine or a good old chin wag won't sort out. Now, I don't want to be unsympathetic, but I do have...
It's okay. Thanks.
I don't want to push you before you're ready, but at some point we're going to have to talk about what happened to you. You know that, don't you? Sissy and Ivor. Are you able to talk about them yet?
Lily. Is this necessary? I know he's going to have to tell the police all the details at some point, but he's only just got out of there. He's not ready to talk about it.
Julia, Jimmy is suffering after a lengthy ordeal. The only way we can help him is if he does talk about what happened.
You do know what happened with him and his father when he was a little boy?
Yeah, which is why, in my opinion, it's better to deal with this sooner rather than later.
Well, I guess you know what you're doing. I'm going to go and call the mill, tell everybody what's happening.
Jimmy?
The Mill Health Centre. Julia, how is he?
You know, well, as can be expected, I suppose, for someone who's been tied up, practically starved to death and left for dead.
And I was thinking I might come and see him later.
Actually, Michelle, that's not really a good idea right now. I mean, you know, after everything he's just been through, I don't think he needs a lot of people around right now.
Okay, well,
No, my police source gave me the heads that we're in custody. I'm at the hospital now. No, I'll hit the deadline.
Tell him we send our love.
Yeah, we all send our love and tell him we hope he gets...
Michelle, I gotta go.
What's this?
How should I know?
Yeah, no, wait. Can't we just...
What? Can't we just what?
We need to talk. About Mum's funeral?
It's all sorted. You needn't worry yourself about anything.
Did Josh call you?
You told Josh about Mum.
I thought you ought to know.
I'm glad you could provide each other with a shoulder to cry on.
I only phoned him because I knew you wouldn't. I did it for you.
I suppose that's why you slept with him too.
I've said I was sorry. How many more times? What, Leanna, like you've never made any mistakes?
You know what, Gemma? Why don't you save it for someone who cares?
It's not my fault that you can't keep a man. If you lose them, it's because no one wants to be with a miserable, stuck-up, unfeeling cow like you.
I know this is hard, but we need to talk about this. I'm here as a friend as much as anything else.
The answer is no, you are not going in there, okay?
And who are you to make decisions for him?
It doesn't matter who I am, you are not going in there.
I don't understand.
Why don't we take a break? I'm just going to pop out for a few minutes.
You're going to be. You are not setting
Perhaps we can try again when I get back.
Are you listening to me?
Are you his friend or his family?
You're not listening to what I'm telling you. I'm telling you it is. What's going on?
Holly Parker, Leather Bridge Gazette. I was hoping to speak to Dr. Clay. And you are?
Dr. Hassan. I'm sorry, he's in no fit state to talk to anyone.
Well, when will I be able to speak to him?
Well, that's difficult to determine at this point.
Fine.
Cheek. Last thing Jimmy needs is any more press. His being in public eye that got him into this mess in the first place. I don't know about you, I could do with something to drink.
Well, there won't be anything stronger than coffee around here, but let's just go make sure she actually leaves.
Wakey, wakey, rise and shine. Sometimes soon I'll make you mine.
Going on?
Good, you're all here. Karen's minding the fort. Now, I called this meeting to discuss the events surrounding Jimmy. Now, I know that some of you are feeling this more than others, but in my experience, I think it's important to talk about it rather than let it fester.
Couldn't this have waited till later?
No, it couldn't. We need to deal with it. Now, would anyone like to say something?
Daniel's right. I've been a rubbish friend. I should have been there for him.
Daniel?
All this so-called getting in touch with one's emotions is just so unhelpful. Perhaps if the women require it.
Excuse me, if the women require what?
Fairer sex, also known as the weaker sex.
Charlie, I really thought we were beyond this kind of attitude.
I'm more in favour of letting it cry out. Only this morning I had a patient, couldn't cry, determined to have a medical reason for a condition. It's all bunkum. She just lost her mother to cancer.
What were her symptoms?
Well, dry eyes, dry throat, croaky voice, few aches and that, you know. All stress-related. If I had a penny for every bizarre, non-medically related problem that came through my door...
Well, I hope for your sake that it isn't Sjögren's syndrome.
It's a disease that affects the immune system. It's associated with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
There's no knowing what the long-term psychological impact will be.
She's coming to find you. Have you seen Jimmy?
Isn't he in his room?
No.
Okay, well, he can't have gone far. I'll check with the nurse.
I'll come with you.
What a prat.
You didn't seem to think that when you were in there laughing.
Come on, the guy's an idiot. I was laughing at him, not with him.
Daniel, have you even stopped once to think about Jimmy?
Come on, of course I have. What do you want me to do? Look, it's not my fault that he's in hospital. And just because he is doesn't mean the rest of us have to have a loving. Anyway, look, I've got Izzy this weekend and I was just thinking...
Thanks, but I think I'd rather have some adult company for a change.
It's me, isn't it? Something about me.
Don't do that, sweetheart. Don't even begin to think that any of this is your fault.
I didn't think I was going to get out of there. Two of them fighting over me like I was a prize. I just thought if I could just get through one day, just...
Jimmy? Just been talking to the station, and Sissy and Ivor have been assessed. And they've been sectioned.
What are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing here?
I'm looking for Leanna Newell.
And you are?
Dr. Bradfield, it's rather important.
How do you think he's doing?
I'm not sure how he's responding to the news about Sissy and Ivor, but the fact that he's talking is a good sign.
At least they're somewhere where they can't do any more harm. If he hadn't got out when he did.
So what now? Well, it's going to be a long, drawn-out process.
I've got to take a statement, but well, I suppose that can wait till tomorrow.
I'm going to head back to the surgery.
I'll stick around. I want to be here when his sister arrives.
Well, perhaps I should call back when it's more convenient.
She was just leaving.
I'm not going anywhere. This is Mum's house. I've just as much right to be here.
What do you want, Gemma? Why are you even here?
I came to talk to you about Mum.
What for? So you can rub my nose in it?
What are you talking about?
That's what you always do, Gemma.
What form of cancer did your mother die of?
Why?
Breast cancer. Why do you ask?
Oh, well, that's something anyway.
Why are you asking about Mum?
After you came to see me this morning, I did some research and I came across a condition known as Sjogren's syndrome. Could explain your dry eye scenario. There's also a chance, but I mean the slightest chance, could be linked to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a form of cancer.
Lily, how is he?
It's amazing. This morning I didn't know what to expect, and considering what he's been through, I'm surprised he managed to come through it at all.
But in the long term?
I honestly don't know.
Now, I'm not saying that's what it is, but I want to have you tested before we can rule anything out. You have enough of the symptoms to warrant further investigation. Certainly explain your inability to cry.
What, you can't cry? Since when? No, you can cry. I've seen you. She's just strong. It's the way she's always been. It's what she does.
No, Gemma, that's just what you like to think.
Ah, okay. So when did it start?
A while ago.
Well, when? Answer the question. Because Josh never mentioned anything. Is that the reason? Because of Josh? Because of me? It's all my fault.
Please.
How do you always manage to make everything about you all the time?
The stupid thing is that I made it up.
What?
I know I told you I did, but I lied. I didn't sleep with Josh.
Hey, thought I'd bring you something decent to eat that wasn't exactly hospital food. And your sister rang. She's stuck in traffic on the M6, but she said to tell her she's going to be here as soon as she can.
Dr. Clay.
I don't believe this. I thought I already told you.
Dr. Clay, I just want a quick word.
I said no interviews.
Look, I just want to know what it was like.
Out.
Living with two monsters.
Out!
It's okay, Julia.
No, it's not okay, Jimmy. You're not ready for this. Come on, out.
Julia. You want to know what it's like living with two monsters?
Why would you say you slept with my boyfriend if you didn't?
Come on, ladies.
I was upset. I didn't know what I was doing.
He told me. He told me you were lying, but I didn't believe him. Why? Why would you do something like that?
I was upset. I don't know. I was upset about Mum. And you just seemed so together.
Such a child. You always want what I've got.
No, I just wanted to make you feel what I felt. I was all alone.
First time I find someone who actually likes me better than you. Come on. Do you know what it's like to grow up with a pretty little sister?
That's all I had. No one took me seriously. Even when Mum got ill, she didn't need me. Not when she had you.
None of that matters, though, does it? You were always her favourite. It doesn't matter what I did for her or the fact that I was with her every single day. She didn't leave me a letter.
That was her telling me to take better care of you. Oh, read it, if you don't believe me. She says you're not as strong as we think, even though you think you are. And that I should take care of you for a change. That's why I came here.
I never knew your mother, but I'm absolutely sure she had no favourite. So you two as sisters have got to start pulling together and stop tearing each other's hair out.
Yana, please. How much more do we have to lose?
That's right, girls. Better out than in.
Sissy and Ivor weren't monsters. They were a product of an abusive childhood and a system that failed to protect them.
So, after the abuse they suffered, it was inevitable.
That's not what I was saying. It's not black and white.
But they kept you chained up and drugged. What did you think they had planned for you?
I don't know. I think it was...
So, if it wasn't inevitable, what set them off?
Well, that's...
What was their trigger?
Well, again, it's impossible to know.
You know, I really don't think that this is...
One day, they woke up and decided to kidnap somebody. Why you?
But they were looking for a connection to the outside world. They're pretending that they're monsters may help us sleep at night, but it's not true. Mental illness isn't a choice, it's an affliction. One we routinely sell short. Yeah, you're right, they could have chosen anyone, but they didn't. They chose me, a doctor. And if that tells us anything, it's that they wanted help, so maybe we should stop demonizing them because it's easier, or to sell a few papers. And we should give them the help they so clearly need.
So, what does this mean?
Well, I'm still going to run some tests, just to be sure. But in all probability, it's stress-induced, as I first thought. But let this be a lesson to you. Don't bottle things up. Glass of wine, good little natter, much better. I'll be off.
You okay? What are you going to do about Josh?
I took your word over his.
You do know that he still cares, don't you? Why don't you call him?
And say what?
I don't know. But you have to speak to him. Call him.
No, I was very proud of you, where you handled that reporter.
Talking about this has made me realize something. I'm one of the lucky ones. Everything happened to me and my dad. I could easily have turned out more like Sissy and Ivor, but I didn't. I made a choice, refused to let it beat me. Not gonna start now.
Violence, again. Your characters always die. And the descriptions.
If you want me home, then who's going to look after you?
I guess you'd have to let me stay.
Roll on, Easter.
You're not coming. He's going to get you to stay at your friend Jack's. Here it is. It's a gun. Your average person shouldn't be seen a mile of these.
Oh, so Doctors is back on Monday with a special